All right, we're live. You guys, let's focus on something Valiant related, not
Valiant.
not we're cooler than Eric related.
Oh, we're not cool. We're not trying to be cooler than Eric. We're just trying to include you in our coolness. That's what
Yeah,
it
so
really
the
is.
conversation out there for those that are just joining us, um, we're trying to get Eric to come out to Emerald City Comic Con next year, and he's dragging his feet. So
Yeah,
maybe try and get him a little pumped up so that he can get out here to the Pacific Northwest.
I would love to do it, but it's a lot easier said than done. That's what it boils down to. So
Well, we'll see, man. You never know how the year can go for you. I
yeah,
mean, things can happen, things can change, opportunities can happen, and maybe one of those opportunities will help get you there. But
yeah,
I threw it out there because I thought, man, like if we're gonna do this, it'd be cool to have you too, But
yeah. I just need
see.
to sell my Bloodshot collection, and then I could go.
Oh, you could probably sell just a couple of those variants and do it though.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
Hey, you could probably sell a couple of them to Chris to go.
Then I wouldn't be able to go.
yeah. Oh man. So not really a whole lot in Valiant news. I mean, usually we want to talk about news, but
Oh, yeah, no, yeah.
It's kind of
the
a slow.
only thing that I, huh?
It's kind of a slow week news wise.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of that's not really even news but was cool was Louis LaRosa posting that commission he did for Vin Diesel of Vin Diesel as Bloodshot in the Carrie Nord Bloodshot #1 variant pose.
Bloodshot
Oh,
Reborn
yeah.
#3.
Was it Bloodshot Reborn? It was a #1 variant.
No, the one that Carrie Nord did was that was #3. I'll have to fight it here. Hold on. Now I got to
No.
dig for it.
No, it's #1. If I have my comics, if I have my Bloodshot collection right here, I would dig it out.
I
But
know
Oh
the
my
one
god, guys, you guys should both just whip
Carrie
them out
Nord.
right now. Let's find out who's right.
just whip them out. Yeah, see whose is bigger.
Issues. There might be kids watching, Eric. Come on.
I meant whose Bloodshot collection is bigger. Come
That's
on.
probably yours, but I don't know.
I don't know. You do have that DMG though, don't you, Chris?
You know what? We're not even. Oh my God, you guys. Oh, you don't bring up the DMG Bloodshot in front of me. You don't bring up the DMG Bloodshot. You don't bring up the fucking Platinum. I don't want to hear about it.
Someone's having some issues feeling incomplete.
That's #1.
That's #3, my friend.
That's
Let's-
number one.
What's the number? What's the number on it?
One. I was
Oh.
thinking of this one. I was thinking of oh darn it, I just backed out of it.
You're telling me it's #3 and it says #1.
No. The one that's in the background when he's working out. That's what I was thinking.
Oh,
Oh, that's a La Rosa drawing. Yeah, that's a La Rosa drawing. I'm talking about the Carrie Nord pose that he had La Rosa model his commission after. Yes, that's a #3. Absolutely.
That's #3. I got him confused.
Yeah. Come at me again, bro.
anyway, that thing was sweet, man. Like,
That image is so fucking cool. Now I got to bring it up on my phone so we can,
so you can
in
look
case
at it.
anybody needs to see it here, because that image was the shit. Honestly, like, yeah. I fucking.
So for anyone out there who's listening, who's like, "What the hell are these guys talking about?" So I think it was yesterday. Louis LaRosa posted a commission that he had done by Vin Diesel, and it was that pose, and he took it down already for some reason, but you could find it if you looked for it pretty easily, like on, yeah. That thing is so rad.
It's
Um,
yeah. Vin Diesel in that.
They should use that like for like an adaptation later on, like when they adapt the movie into a comic book, which they should just do anyway. They should use
Dude,
that.
yeah, if they
rad.
do a Bloodshot movie comic book, this needs to be the cover.
And here's
Like-
the thing about that look, though.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times people will complain about how the movie versions, they don't want the movie versions to look like the comic. They don't want the comic to look like the movie or whatever, If Bloodshot looked like that, I'd be okay with it, man. Like if the book started looking like that kind of version of Bloodshot, he doesn't really look that different. Like I'd be cool with it.
Yeah, that's not even that much of a departure from how La Rosa was already drawing him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a combination
Yeah.
of the two.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's just I'm saying it's Vin Diesel's body, so it's a little bit different, but it's still pretty much the same as what LaRosa was drawing him. And now, obviously, this is another thing that I've talked to a couple artists about is um one of the characters that is drawn like the most varied is Bloodshot. Like every artist kind of has their style of how they draw him.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
if you look at the if you look at Bloodshot, Analog Man, Bloodshot Reborn Analog Man, and then you look at Bloodshot Island, like that they don't even really look like the same character other than, you know, the white skin, the red dot, and all that.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. I like them doing their own interpretations.
I think each artist has their interpretation. They're allowed to spread their wings. I don't think Valiant puts the clamps down and says that the circle has to be this big, the muscle has to be this big. Everybody does their own little tweak, and Valiant's fine with it. So
Yeah.
I mean, they want them to be able to express how they see Bloodshot as. Like right here. One that I found that was Miko Suyan had just posted his version, and it was just a doodle draw, if you will, of now, who does that look like?
Oh,
Badass JDF Bloodshot.
Yeah, looks like a JDF Bloodshot, and that one there I think is a pretty darn sweet one. You know, that's a really nice Miko. But still, if you compare the two, they don't look much alike, but they're both Bloodshot.
They're very, very much still Bloodshot. And the cool thing about that one is it's kind of a callback to Miko's very first Bloodshot cover, which was a 2012 Bloodshot #1 pull box variant.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I thought that was cool. Oh, the other thing I was going to bring up, since we're talking about art, I got to brag here for a second. My wife and I just had our anniversary. And
congrats!
Yes, that is sick.
Yeah, she for my birthday on this last December, she got me a commission of Batman and Bloodshot fighting, and Batman had ripped off Bloodshot's arm and was beating him with it. And so a lot of Valiant fans were like, "Oh, why is Batman winning? Bloodshot should be winning." And it's like, chill out, man. It's just one moment of a fight. And then my wife went and took the initiative and went and got the same artist to do a moment later in the same fight. And so yeah, it's Bloodshot kneeing Batman in the face. It's pretty badass.
That arm starting to reform too.
Yeah, yep. The arm's starting to come back, and you can see the hand on the ground in the background because his arm is still laying there.
So, for people who don't know, who's the artist who did both those commissions?
Fred Dunn, and you can actually find him on YouTube at Dread Fun, which is DREDFUNN, and he has a lot of time lapse videos because he actually does pencil, photorealistic pencil portraits and stuff. And when I say photorealistic, I mean photorealistic. Like he did a set of 4 live action Jokers. So he did, or a bunch of them, I think it was. I don't remember. Like Heath Ledger and Jack Nicholson and Cesar Romero, and then I think he also did the dude from The Man Who Laughs. And he's done a bunch of like different superhero drawings, Star Wars stuff. Yeah, check him out. Dread Fun. He also did the art for the first comic book that I self-published, and we're talking about doing some more stuff together. So,
very nice, very nice,
very cool.
Yeah. So he's awesome. If you need commissions, go to that guy. Seriously, because I know I just showed you the thing on my phone, but I have the original art for both of those 2 drawings that he did hanging in my office at work. And they're 11 by 17. They're not little things. So yeah, they take up some real estate on my wall at work. It's awesome.
Nice.
But yeah. Anyway, anything else that you guys want to?
Well, just for those who don't know, our person with us tonight.
Oh yeah.
I don't think we introduced him.
No, we didn't.
We were too busy bullshitting prior to the episode. Chris, introduce
Have you
yourself.
been
I know you've been here before, but
This is my first time on the show. I'm happy to be here. I am
What?
Chris, the Bald Moose.
This isn't your first time. At the very least, you were on episode 80.
No, first time on.
is it
What?
really?
Yeah. No, I've been with
Nuh-uh.
you guys a couple of times. And the only time that I've been with you guys has been with John on Hoodoo.
Or
No,
the
I
Who
thought you
Get Geeky videos too.
Yeah, the Who Gets Geeky, but that was through John.
But didn't you do the episode 80, Get Valiant episode 80 with
I think so.
Sierra and
Oh, yeah, okay. All right, yes. Brain is tired. I've been working on computers all dang day.
I was just worried I was going crazy there for a minute. So I was like, oh my God, I know somebody was on there and I thought it was you.
Hey, side note to that, John and I were dinking around on the internet chatting after the show, and there will be a Sierra Foster sighting down in Oregon, just a couple hour drives from where John and I live. We're going to bust down there just to go see her.
That's
Oh, that's
awesome.
cool.
Yeah, we're going to go. It's at least a one-day thing, but we'll go down there, get some pictures with her, get her to sign some stuff, just simple stuff. But it's a real small con. Really, really small. It's only going to be a 2-day thing, but I think it's going to be awesome to get a chance to actually meet her.
Okay, so now I need to come out to that. I'll ship myself out there UPS. No, that's awesome. What's the name of the con?
I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll dig for it.
You son of a bitch.
I'm tired, man. I'm exhausted. Birth.
So we should go into reviews. You guys want to do some reviews?
Sure.
Seaside Con, that's what it's called.
What's that?
Seaside Convention. Or
Okay.
Seaside Con. Or Versus Con.
Well, hopefully other people go and meet Sierra and talk to Livewire in the flesh. But yeah, we have 3 reviews to do, and one of the big reasons why we asked the Bald Moose himself to come on this episode, reason number 1 was to make Josh feel bad about his baby face.
Whatever. I can't help it if I look eternally young. Not
need to
aging at the rate you youngsters are, man. Shit.
you need to put some hairs on that face.
Well, I'm okay with it, man.
The second, more minor reason is because the big event, the big summer event started today, Harbinger Wars 2, number 1. Well, not today, yesterday, technically. But
I know what you're saying.
it doesn't really count until we talk about it, so it starts today. So the other 2 books that we have are Valiant High and Quantum and Woody. So I think we should go through those first.
Okay.
And for anybody watching or listening later, we will be going into spoilers. So hopefully you've read these books. They did come out yesterday. You've had an entire over 24 hours. Get on that shit. The first one, Valiant High, number 1. So this was a digital release. I never read it. Did you guys read it when it came out digital?
I had read it when it came out before.
Nerd.
No, I didn't. And I heard nothing but positive reviews on it. So when I heard that they were going to print it, I was, all right, let's take a look at it. To me, it's kind of like double dipping the chip into the salsa. You put it out, you say it's going to be an exclusive, so you're excited about the exclusive, about getting it online. And you come back and you print it. So I was a little less excited about it, but the fact that it's Kibble Smith, the fact that it got a lot of great pub on it, I definitely had to at least check it out, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good book.
Yeah, it's really lighthearted. It's kind of a funny way of looking at the Valiant universe. Everybody in a high school setting. I think it works. I think it works as like a comedic piece. I guess this would be represented on the Valiant Earth 3, like its own continuity. But I like it. It centers around Amanda Livewire. Just how she interacts with people, her struggles through school. I love the fact that Flamingo's in this because I always thought she's such a great character, and so it's good to see that someone didn't just forget about her because she died.
they took the opportunity. Like, this isn't continuity; she can be alive.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
Um,
it's just a fun book, like it's kind of goofy, a little more all ages too, like if you're ever thinking like, oh, I wouldn't let like a little kid, like my kid, read like Bloodshot because of the gun violence, or like, Harada is kind of like rough stuff, and Harbinger, even like some of Pete's actions, like this is definitely a book that like anybody of any like age group could like read.
yeah, I thought. So I will say my favorite thing about this is the fact that it focuses on Amanda. It's Livewire centric. I did like that. I also noticed them using Flamingo again. I thought that was a really nice touch because, I mean, she's been dead for quite a long time and they're not bringing her back. So it's really nice to kind of get that character for the first time in I don't even know how many years, like 5 years or something, 4 at least.
Something like 4, I think, maybe. Yeah.
Um, and then, getting these more lighthearted versions of the characters, Ninjak is the weird foreign kid, and Arik is the douchebag running back, and Pete's the
Galad's like the
outcast.
metalhead kid in school.
Yeah, Galad is the metalhead, and Armstrong, of course, is just Armstrong, a total moron. He's not a moron. He's on a different level, as Kevin Porter put it. But I did think it was really fun. I thought that Faith was perfectly portrayed. Like, this is the exact kind of book for Faith, right? Like, you could write a Faith book like this.
Yes.
And now that you guys are talking about this being good for kids, it makes me want to actually
have kids.
No, it makes me want to give copies to my nephew. Actually,
well, I did read on the Valiant Comics fan Facebook page. I did read that somebody had let their daughter read it to her younger brother, and I think the best part of that whole thing is, that's kind of a sweet thing. The daughter reads to the younger brother. It's a comic book. It's lighthearted. But afterwards, I guess when they use the curse words and they use the $sign and it looks like swear or something like that, they took the amount of letters and they said, okay, what curse word would fit in there? And the daughter and the guy that wrote it went down the list and said, okay, it's got to be 5 words, so you can't, not shit. It's going down. I just thought that was absolutely hilarious. I mean, all around bonding.
Yeah, bonding over like curse words. That's great, and Valiant.
Oh man. No, I thought the art's not all, like, my favorite thing, but I think a lot of that has to do with the style of it. I just
yeah,
it's kitty-like.
I like Valiant because it's so gritty and real, like almost across the board. And even Faith, the super lighthearted book, usually had a fairly like real feel to it. And this, I think, like Ninjak Versus went outside that box a little bit too, and then this just goes a lot farther outside that box. It's very Archie-esque.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I think Derek Charm does a lot of the newer Archie stuff right now, anyway, or he had in the past. And I wasn't like a huge fan of him when he did the Gen Zero stuff, like in that weird like mindscape that they were in the one issue. I can't remember what that place was called now, looking back, but it works for this.
Mindscape or
something like that, yeah. But
I thought it was appropriate for what it was, but yeah, I wasn't a big fan of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess for me, I had 3 weeks that I didn't get a chance to pick anything else up because I've been traveling for work and all kinds of other busy stuff. When I got to this book and I got to flip through it, I didn't have to think. I didn't have to, okay, well, this was from the last issue and this person always is this way. It was like a complete fresh start, but it was in a way that kind of goofy, kind of just simple, if you will. I love the fact that Colin's going to be Ninjak is going to be the person that's going to tinker with everything, and the rich spoiled kid, if you will, who's like, You know, I'm not going to be the snob kid. I'm going to be the kid that messes with everybody. I'm going to make this kid, Peter, I'm going to make him the big deal. So I thought that was interesting. I could see where they might be going with some of that stuff.
Yeah, I'll keep reading it, especially since we review all the stuff on here, but it's definitely not something I'm really looking forward to. I would give it like a 3.25 out of 5. I mean, it's not a bad book, but it's not something that I'm going to be rushing to the store to pick up.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
right there with you. It's a 3.25 or a 3.5 right in there. It was, for me, it was great because I come home from just brain exhaustion, and it was easy for me to just melt into the couch and flip through this. So yeah, 3.5 for me.
Yeah, I'd probably go about a 3.5 on it. Not necessarily because there's anything wrong with it, but it is kind of something a little bit out of my like the base of what I like to read. It reminds me very much of something I read to my kids.
Yeah.
Well, my daughter especially. And I don't know if she would like this just because I feel like I'd have to explain who everybody still is. She'd have a lot of questions. That happens sometimes when we read. But I think the story part is definitely the stronger of like the things put in here, versus the art. Just because I'm not a huge fan of Derek Charm's art. I was stoked that David Barry got to work on this, so that's great. But yeah, I thought Kibble Smith's story was better than the art was. So that's just my thoughts on it.
I'll go with that too. And and for me, like a lot of the negativity just like the concept itself. You know what I mean? Like I know that I'm not super adult being a guy that spends a lot of my time and money on comic books, but I like to think I'm a little bit more adult than Valiant High. Um, so I don't know.
Yeah,
But
but you can still be an adult and enjoy this.
you can absolutely. I guess that was probably the wrong way to phrase that. But it's just it's not my taste. But I don't have to be the target market for every Valiant book. And I felt that way a little bit about Faith as well. Is it wasn't 100% up my alley, and I don't know if I actually, as much as I did enjoy it, I don't think I would have picked it up if it wasn't for the fact that I read everything Valiant. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't have to be the target market for everything they put out.
I think the best thing that just got said there, though, is something that a lot of fans should stick to, though, is that you said you're not always the target audience for like every Valiant book. And I think sometimes if more fans looked at it like that, things might be a little more enjoyable.
Yeah, enjoy the books that are marketed toward you and are geared toward your enjoyment, and be happy that other people with different tastes have other choices within the line.
Yeah.
Um,
That can be said for comics in general.
Almost anything, honestly, in life, really. We're dropping life lessons here, bro.
Life lesson number one. You just heard it, guys.
Yeah. So speaking of life lessons, Quantum and Woody, number 6. What'd you get?
I'm very
Oh,
bummed that I didn't
I
get
hate
the
you right now.
pre-order edition.
Oh, here you go.
Oh,
Which
there
is
you go.
weird. My shop always gives me the pre-order editions only. That's why I have a hold at a local shop. It's just so I can get those. And yeah, I don't get them. It's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, I think that pre-order edition, that was that Jay, I'm not butchering.
Fabre?
Fabre, yeah. Was that her or was it her husband that did it?
No, it was her.
It was her. It was her husband that posted it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that covers
why
awesome.
I wanted it too, is because Jay did it. I was like, oh, I want to get more of Jay's work, support
It
her.
Totally looks like her art, especially on the comic book that she's pushing now. Totally looks like it, and it's fantastic. I love the cover. I love the goofiness of the carrying the tire around the waist because he's completely naked. I thought that was hilarious.
I thought she really captured Quantum and Woody, and I mean that's really all you have to do on a Quantum and Woody cover.
Yeah, yeah.
So one of the things, okay, they're both of the two quote unquote main creators on this. Obviously, colors are really important, but both Francis Portela and Elliot Rahal are new to this book. Neither of them have worked on a Quantum and Woody book in the past, to the best of my knowledge. So I was really curious how it would go from. What's that?
Didn't Portela do issue 3?
Ooh, somebody would have to look that up. I don't know about that.
I think he did.
because that was the issue where the goat gave birth and everything, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember the art in that one.
Okay, fair enough.
But anyway, so I don't know. I was just really curious. At the very least, he may have done a flashback if he did do that one, which maybe he did. But I hadn't seen him do the ongoing. And then also, like I said, Elliot is someone that I've gotten to talk to from when he did an interview with Get Valiant for Bloodshot's Day Off, and he was on Hoodoo TV recently.
Just this week.
And yeah, just this week. And talking to him about trying to get him to come back on Get Valiant. We just have to get schedules lined up. He's definitely interested in, he wants to do it as much as we want him to come on, but we just got to line the schedules up. But anyway, I've gotten to talk to him in person a few times. I went to a signing that he was at a shop up in the Twin Cities. And I also went to MSP Comic-Con earlier this month and got to talk to him there. And we were talking about Quantum and Woody, and I thought, a lot of the stuff that he said was cool. So I was really, really curious to see how his take on the characters would be. And I think I would classify this as one of the less funny Quantum and Woody issues, but it nailed the like the family, the heart of Quantum and Woody, as well as anything I've read with these characters.
When I think of Quantum and Woody, I think you gotta think. I think both sides of the spectrum. And in the first 5 books that we got, we had Quantum and Woody against each other on the far side of one spectrum. This book really does bring us all the way back on the other side of the spectrum to where they act and behave like brothers, and they feed off each other to be that superhero duo. And I think for me, and this is probably one thing that touched me the most, it was the moment that made me put down the book and text my brother, was this bottom portion right there.
Oh yeah.
That portion right there, that one picture right there made me stop and text my brother just to say hi, because he's on the other side of the country and I never get a chance to see him, rarely get a chance to talk to him. So I stopped, texted him, and I'm lucky that I had him for a few minutes to say a couple of words. But this book really brought the brothers back together. And, I thought just that portion right there was fantastic, because we've always seen the brothers being goofy, being at odds with each other. And now I'm liking the fact that it's coming back this way and they have to rely on each other.
Yeah, I'm actually I was a big fan of this issue. For one, like Eric said, it wasn't as funny. It was like a lot less zany, I guess. Is kind of how I would put it. There wasn't so many just bizarre situations that pop up like we've already seen with this series. That page that Moose referenced, where Woody kind of gives he gets a little close. He makes sure that Quantum's okay after he notices that his powers aren't working. And they notice that they're going to go in and try to save those people in the fire. And I thought that whole page was just really incredible. The dialogue there is just excellent.
This page too, not to cut you off, but this page too, where Woody goes back in and finds Quantum. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, when Woody goes back. Yeah. Oh, yes, I agree.
That whole speech that Quantum gives about what heroes do, I just thought that was excellent. Not only that, but first off, I thought Elliot Rahal, this is the best issue he's written for Valiant, bar none. I mean, this issue was great, and I think if people have doubts about him, off the one shots that he's done and about what he could do with this series, I think this is an issue that would kind of take your ease off, a little bit, because this issue is excellent on the writing side. Not only that, Francis Portela has 2 great 2-page splashes in this. The first one when Quantum Woody knows the fire. The second one when they're on different levels, almost like a side-scrolling video game.
That was cool.
I love the art in this one. I just thought this was such a great issue. This was I think this was just, if this is more of what we get with Elliot, awesome.
Oh man,
he will be a great fit on this book.
Yeah, super stoked to get more from him. I think Valiant may have gotten lucky by snatching this guy up. I really think he can weave a tale. And I'm happy for him. I'm happy the fact that he got his chance. Yeah, he did a great job in this one issue. I'm ready. I'm ready for number 7 and number 8. I want to get this whole arc going.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm really stoked because Joe Eisma is coming on art and with issue 8, and yeah, I'm really curious to see because I mean Elliot's take on this book seems to be working really well. I really am enjoying it, and I know I really enjoyed Joe Eisma when he was doing Faith, so I'm really interested to see how the two of them work together on Quantum and Woody, and but yeah, I mean, like you guys were saying, if this is an indication of what we're going to get from Elliot on Quantum and Woody as an ongoing, and the level of quality that we can expect to see from him moving forward, if he's able to do other books, whether with Valiant or not, I'm definitely going to be happy to continue following him as a comic creator. This was really high quality stuff. I would. This one's tough for me. I've always had a little bit of an issue with Portella's art. I think it's kind of an uncanny valley situation with the way that he's colored and like I don't know, it almost looks computer generated and it's almost like a little bit too human, but not human enough, and it makes it really look weird. Um, so just a weird thing that I've always thought about his art. I do think it fits really well here. It makes it look like a 3D animated movie almost. And I think a lot of that is Andrew Dahlhaus's colors are done really well. But man, I'm going to give this one a 4.5. It's a really, really, really solid book. I really enjoyed it. And this is one that I'm going to rush to the store to continue following. And I really hope that other people are picking it up too.
Yeah, I think I wrote a review on this one. I think it ended up being like a 4.3 with the way that Outright Geek regrades it. So we'll go 4.25 on it. Just a really strong issue. I'm hoping that, we get a lot more of it. And this one again was one where I thought like the writing was better than the art.
Sure.
Yeah, and I would agree with you. I'd probably go with the story as probably a 4.5, the art 4.25. I happen to like it. I think it fit Quantum and Woody and their style. I wouldn't mind seeing more of Portella doing this. But yeah, but right about a 4.3, that fits right in line with what I'm thinking. Maybe even close, like you said, Eric, a 4.5.
Yeah, and I don't even want to say like, Portella's a bad artist or anything like that.
Oh no,
he's definitely not. There's just something about his style that is always a little bit weird to me. But yeah, really well done book. Story, I think, a little stronger than the art, but both very, very well done. But that will bring us to, I got all just A covers. I got Harbinger Wars 2, number 1.
Pre-order on this one for some reason. Yeah. I was happy about it, but
who did that? Whose is that?
Girello.
Yeah, Girello.
Oh, okay. So I almost never read any of these issues more than once before we record. I've read this issue 3 times now. The first time I read it, I did not dig it all that much, but actually after reading it a couple more times, I enjoyed it quite a bit more.
That's about how I was too.
Yeah, I read it 2 times, and the first time I read it, I was disgusted by it, and I did not like where it was going. But I just read it here since I had a little extra time before we came on. And I definitely softened on a lot of my viewpoints. I still thought it was a bit choppy. I still think that it kind of almost like an Elseworld, like you were saying. It doesn't seem like it quite belongs, especially with the things that are going on now. With Ninjak and Livewire being in a love relationship as they're working towards that goal, where does this fit in? Because they had, a page and a half, and then boom, they're like, all right, if you, in 24 hours, I'm coming for you, I'm going to kill you. That didn't make any sense. So
I don't think that he's going to kill her. I think that they sent him because... I don't think so
either, but, I mean, if you're in a loving relationship, it's not, well, we'll see what happens in 24 hours. I'm giving you 24 hours.
This is one of the
Mr. and Mrs. Smith, like it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Like some of these characterizations to me,
I don't know,
Um,
man. I mean, to me, it's like when we watched Ninjak Versus, and granted, that was Elseworlds, but even in that, you could still tell that Livewire and Colin, Amanda and Colin had a relationship and some history. But what's like one of the first things that Amanda says? My loyalty to Unity outweighs my loyalty to you. And her saying this is the same thing here is that, they both have their loyalties. They each think that that their side is what's best for the world. And they're putting their loyalty and their dedication to making the world a better place above their loyalty and dedication to each other.
yeah, but if you were to go and read like Ninja Case 6, though, or 7, and you see how they're interacting there right now, like that's the book that's on the stands right now, these are cross signals here. Like we have in
Yeah.
one book where they're like, they've got each other's backs, and then we got another one where they're about ready to go throw down. I just thought, I mean, for me, like that was my biggest issue with this issue. It's just that, and I'm saying that as someone who does like the issue. I gave it a pretty strong review, but I just thought the characterization seemed off. Bloodshot, I want to know what's going on with Bloodshot a little bit too. Is he under Amanda's control? Is he there on
I'm
this
going to say
will?
yes.
Because I thought he too was a little bit too gung ho for like the people that were there.
Yeah, he was ready to kill.
I mean, I know that Ninjak pisses everybody off, but I just thought I thought that his whole line of like, should I kill him? Should I take him now or whatever it was? Like, really? Like, come on, man. Like, that's a little rushed.
Yeah.
I see. I don't know, man. So now
I
I'm
just
trying to
think that
find
these
that.
characters that have gone through so much together, like we've been reading these stories for like 6 years now, where they've had uneasy alliances to meet, but since then they've had each other's backs, through and through. It just seems like a weird kind of story to be like, I'm ready to go take him down, Livewire. Just let me know, and got my guns ready and all this stuff. Like, it's just a little off.
Yeah.
Okay, so okay, here's what I wanted to say. When Ninjak says Bloodshot doesn't quite seem himself, Livewire immediately chimes in, my power is the ability to talk to machines, to control them.
Yeah.
So
So
I
that's why
think it's
I'm saying
pretty
I want to know if like she's like taking control of him, much like how Project Rising Spirit used to take control of him back in the day.
I think that she's kind of ends justify the means in justification for her right now. And yeah, she's kind of going a little outside of where she maybe should.
Yeah.
But I would say like the last page when it's Bloodshot going to war on Livewire's commands, like yeah, he's totally in her control, which I'm curious to see where that leads.
Yeah. I thought like
Oh,
the whole I thought Agent Palmer seems like so out of place here a little bit too, because like the way he talks to Arik, like Arik Spectre Earth, he's like, you need to do what's best for America and all this shit. I almost wanted to be like, who are you, buddy? Like, you're a guy who kills kids. You're talking to a guy with like the most powerful like armor set like in the universe. Like, this dude could just mash your whole crew like they're nothing, and you're gonna be like mouthing off to him. Like, come on, dude, get real. Like
oh,
you are absolutely nothing compared to Exo Manowar. Like, you can go call for like your powers. They're not gonna matter much.
at least though, Palmer is making it clear that he doesn't want to kill a bunch of kids again. So at
Yeah,
least there's that. The other thing that I wanted to mention is the Omen mobile habitats that are mentioned a couple of times at the beginning of the issue. The news story talks about benevolent tech giant Omen and its top engineers donating mobile habitats for any and all psiots. And then Palmer references that as they're trying to make up for their part in killing all the kids in Rook by, those mobile habitats for psiots that want to surrender or whatever. Yeah, that's just going to turn into their fucking
they're new Gen Zeros.
Yeah, that's their new soldiers, the new bad guy soldiers.
Yeah.
exactly. They're going to be their pawns, and Bloodshot is going to have to mow down a bunch of Psyot kids
Well,
again.
one thing I want to say that has been kind of something that's always kind of nagged me a little bit about like Bloodshot's overall story is that Bloodshot rescued the Gen Zero kids, went through Harbinger Wars, with those kids, trying to get them out of a bad situation. And then they're kind of forgotten about, like ever since, because at that point the book became Bloodshot and Hardcore. He was doing missions with Major Palmer. And I always kind of feel like they should have gotten to a point where like Bloodshot touched upon what happened to those kids in Rook, because he knew those kids, he saved those kids, and you
Well,
think that there'd be some kind of connection. And I'm kind of hoping that there's an answer to that within this series.
if Amanda truly is controlling Bloodshot, I think we will get that answer. I think
that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, I'm hoping. And why wouldn't Amanda use that as some form of motivation to go up against any hardcore members? All she's got to do is just plant that little seed, and you don't even need to control Bloodshot. You just let him go.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of what this book did was set pieces on the table, and that's an important part of any game. It's an important part of any war. But obviously, this isn't the issue that's going to make or break this series. It's going to be what comes after this, And I'm really curious to see what big fights we get. Because you got to imagine people are going to be switching sides throughout this thing too. So it's going to be really interesting to see when all the kids that Pete has activated come running out, and I don't know. Who knows?
One thing that me and Hoosier were talking about when I talked to him the other day when he was in town, was like the Alpha. The Alpha was supposed to be a part of this. And is that something that we're going to see with this, or is he completely rewritten out for something to use at a later date? I'm wondering if there's going to be any more pieces kind of added to the story. Because there was a lot of build up to this, and the build up seemed to point that way a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see.
I'm sure it's going to continue building all the way until the end. So I'm sure that a lot more is going to come into this, because it seems like the last few pages is when the fighting is finally beginning. And once the fighting starts, a lot more people are going to get involved.
Yeah. And I think this issue is a good issue. I'm way more excited to see what happens after this, just because I feel like the next issue is going to kind of bring the action. We're going to see all these pieces moved into place. We're going to see what happens when they're set off. So, but one other thing I thought too, with the book being called Harbinger Wars, I would have liked it if it would have focused a little bit more on just Pete somehow. I'm hoping that Pete is a badass, like he was in Dice Heart's run, as opposed to how he was under Rafer. And I like Rafer, but Pete under Rafer's rule was just he wasn't very tough. It just seemed like a bunch of nobodies would show up and kind of hand him his ass.
I don't know. I guess we'll see. I'm not too worried about that.
But we're talking about a guy who's probably the second most powerful Psyot.
He's the most powerful Psyot as far as I'm concerned, or at least has potential.
Well, it's either him or Toyo. So it's I want to see that. I don't want to see someone just show up that we've never heard of and be like, oh man, this dude just took out Pete.
Well, honestly, I hope that Pete doesn't get involved. I hope that he goes around and he gets it, gets a bunch of Psyots, and you get all these new Psyots to join in the fray. But then Pete's kind of in the background. If he doesn't,
Pete's going to be involved. It looks like with the way the issue ended. It looks like Pete's going to be in the shit, pretty quick.
He may be, but I would like him not to be, just simply because I think one, it'd make a lot of people mad, and I'm fine with that. It makes people mad. That's probably my biggest reason, because I know it'll make people mad. But the fact that he doesn't necessarily need to be involved. He's kind of like the chess piece, the king or the queen. You don't have to bring that piece out. When you want the heavy hitter, sure, but you bring your rook, your knight out, you let your bishop and your pawns do the damage, and you let them be the cannon fodder. And then when maybe towards the end, he gets one big, I don't know, for lack of better words, he smashes the ground and the whole world explodes type of thing. I don't know. But
I don't know. I mean, the way I look at it is I'd like to see them do something strong with those characters, just because I would like to hope that, some plans in the not too far future involve getting another Harbinger book out.
Agreed. Yeah, that's why I don't want him too involved, just specifically for the Harbinger book. I'd like to see more but I want that story to be about him, not about everybody else.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know. See, I think that when Pete works the best is when he's being tested as a leader because he has a tendency to fail, and that makes for intriguing and interesting stories. You know, so yeah, that's what I want, and that's why I would be cool with another Harbinger book. I think one of the things Dysart did the best with the Harbinger book was highlight the moral ambiguity, right? Like everybody thought that they were on the right side, and it was really hard to know. Like sometimes some people would read those books and say Toyo was the good guy, and others read it and said Pete was the good guy. And I don't think that you can really make a solid case that either was far off. And I think that's what was the greatest thing about that book. And if we can kind of go back to that, one of the things I love so much about that book was it started out with Pete being a terrible person, right?
Very terrible. Very terrible.
Yeah. He's a rapist.
Yeah.
And he and the book never forgot that, right? Like it was never like, well, he did a couple nice things, so he's okay now.
Yeah, he's the hero now.
Yeah. It kind of always stuck with that idea of this is the guy when the chips are down, he'll do some bad shit. And he has his heart's in the right place, but he doesn't always make the right decisions. And I think that, him being kind of a bad guy, kind of a good guy in this would be the best way to go. And I'd like to see that in, if there is, like the way that the Valiant led into a new Bloodshot book and Book of Death led into a new Eternal Warrior book. I would love to see this lead into, a new Harbinger book or something like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that would be like the ideal thing to me. Or even like some with even more like secret weapons or more live wire.
Yeah.
Something
a Unity
more
book.
Something PSYOP related.
Even if it's only PSYOP related in that there are some PSYOPs in it, a Unity book would be amazing to come out of this. Everybody realizes what needs to be done, and there's a resolution at the end of the story, and then they go on to battle the rest of the world's challenges. Yeah, I would love to read another Unity book.
I could get behind that. Very much so.
But for me, man, I mean, this is a really hard book for me to score. It is a really good book. It's definitely not bad. I'm going to go 4 out of 5. It's strong. It's obviously not my favorite thing of the week. I think Quantum and Woody blew me away by how good it was. And honestly, if we would have reviewed Harbinger Wars 2 #1 the day I read it or the day after I read it, I think I would have given a lot more.
Like when we got copies of it?
Yeah, right when we got copies of it, yeah, I would have given it a much lower score. But having the chance to read it a couple times, I definitely came to understand it better. And I think when I got a better idea of, because there's actually a lot going on in that book. I mean, it's pretty dense. So I think that reading it a couple times gave me a chance to really understand everything that was going on, and that made me enjoy it more. And that makes me happy because understanding it more, making me enjoy it less would be a horrible thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm probably going to go with about a 3.5. Probably going to be where I'll end up. Reading it a second time really did soften the edges. It allowed me to reevaluate the way I saw it the first time and realize that maybe my judgment was my critiques were a little harsh, although I still stand by them. I still think that there are problems with this book, but I know enough to give Matt Kent a little bit of room and let him weave his tale. So yeah, 3.5 with my eye ready to read that next book.
Yeah, I'm around like 4.25 on this, and part of that is because of how much I liked Thomas Giorello's art. I thought for the most part, this was a really beautiful issue. There's a couple times where I thought like Pete looked a little too buff for who he is. He should be a kind of a scrawny kid.
Yeah,
that was my biggest problem with the art.
He looked a little yoked, and I do kind of think Giorello does a little bit of the same faces, like the same facial expression a lot.
Yeah.
But for the most part, though, I think his pencils are just really beautiful in this. Colored really well. It was a really good looking book. Kent delivered a good story, but But yeah, 425 for me. That works.
Well, now it just comes down to where it goes next. I mean, there's so many, like I said, I mean, this really put a lot of pieces on the board, and there's so many different directions that those things could go with people switching alliances, and who knows if some characters might die in this.
I would say nobody major would die in this.
You don't think so?
No.
I'm not predicting somebody will, but I don't think it's impossible.
Well, I don't think you could kill like Livewire. I mean, she's a pretty vital character right now. And obviously, like Bloodshot, he's not going to die. Ninja can't kill Ninjak. I guess you could kill like, Torque. Kill Torque. Why not?
Yeah, as long as they don't kill Animalia.
Yeah. See, and that's the thing I worry about too, because I mean, we've already like decimated like the Gen Zero rank so much, and like
just kill off the rest of the Psyots. If they just kill every Psyot.
Just kill Torque. Although, if they killed him, that means that Eric and I's dream Unity book, where it was just like, who was the two people that would team up with Torque? Was it Ninjak and Bloodshot, and then Torque? We discussed it on an episode. And it would just be an episode. It would just be a book where they just make Torque cry all the time because he's just so ineffective.
Oh man. So I think, what is it now? So yeah, next week only one Valiant book, which sucks. And what I'm going to be even more bummed about is that the only Valiant book coming out next week is Valiant High #2.
You're that bummed on it already? You just gave like a pretty decent review.
No, I know, but that's the only, like, if it was that and Ninja K on the same day, I'd be like, yeah, that's a decent week. But if the only book that comes out is Valiant High, possibly my least favorite book at Valiant right now, yeah, that's not something to get.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, I mean, I like everything that Valiant does right now. I have for a long time, but like it'd be like my least favorite of all the things I like, We'll think of something to do next week. We can fill time.
We'll come up with something.
Eric will do a live reading where he does all the different voices in Valiant High.
Yes. It's going to be amazing.
He's been practicing his Coach Bloodshot voice all week. He's ready.
Yeah. Coach Shot.
Yeah.
Oh, did we lose the bald noose?
Did he step out?
I don't know. He's frozen or something. What a jerk.
Moose.
Oh, his Wi-Fi router crashed, he said.
Oh, that happens to him.
It does, it seems. Yeah. But I think we've come to the end. I want to thank him for coming on. Definitely appreciate the Bald Moose joining us and chatting about these books. Harbinger Wars 2 is probably going to be really big. Maybe we'll bring somebody else on again next time one of these comes out. Really hoping to bring Elliot Rahal on and talk about Quantum and Woody, because I loved his first issue on the book. But yeah, I want to thank everybody for joining us, watching, listening. It's always a good time. Thank you again, Josh. This is episode 84 of our podcast here.
The big 84, man.
Woo!
Seems like we just did 83 last week, Just
last week. Oh, man. Well, thanks again, everybody. Signing off, I am Eric Baumgart.
I'm Josh Rathbun.
And I hope you all have a great week, and Moose signs off as well.